actually really impressed that you remember the year. But yeah, I've started the 2018-2019 season training mostly with the first team of the club, which was at third division level in Israel, which is still professional, but it's not at the high levels as I aspire to be at. I started my year there training with the first team, playing with the under 21s mainly, sometimes included in told you survival weeks. As long as you get on with your training, they only get harder and harder and harder. And you eat less and you sleep less and you do more and you attack, train to attack more destinations. Surprising attacks that is coming towards you in the week. So as it goes on, you kind of well, actually, this one guy, my older brother used to train for this one guy, preparing for his service. And when I got released, he told me like, let's sit down and chat. After he told me let's sit down and chat, he didn't offer me anything yet. He told me, okay, the interview went well. Now I want to see you coach. So he sent me, I'm sorry, with one of his managers to I would say that we have a lot of work to do for the season to come on, both football and both mentally about the team. We're talking about a team who last year was a losing team and had the spirit of losers. I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth in the beginning of the season.
And thanks for tuning in today. This week's episode is brought to you in conjunction with Upskilled and their mini MBA. If you want to get the skills and knowledge to help move you forward without all of the big expense, then this mini MBA with Upskilled is the right way to go. Follow the link in the show notes and you can get $500 off. Idan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Excellent. Look,
how are you today?
Hey, do you know what? Thanks for asking. I am doing really well. Today's been a good day for me. And I know we're just kicking into my evening, but it looks like the sun is shining for you. So I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, I'm actually midday here, so I won't go on and define my day as great, but it's going well as up until now.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, listen, we're going to make this next 30 minutes one of the highlights of your day. So we're going to do that. So listen,
I'm ready.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation, as I said, and one of the reasons being is one, sort of where you are, two, your history of military and sport, and then three, just the way that you've been able to pull those together to support the next generation of athletes kicking through. So, it would be great to sort of delve into some of those things with you over the next few minutes.
I'm all yours, Ryan.
Brilliant. So listen, Idan, just I guess give me that summary. Just tell me about you to start with, what you're doing and where you are as well.
Well, I can tell you for starters, like up until I started playing football until my military service. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, great. So I've started playing professional football at an under 9 level in a team who's called Hapoel Ra'anana. It's the local team here in Ra'anana, the city I live. And I used to play over there until I think I was 13. And when I was 13, I had a little bit of struggling with my parents getting divorced. And certainly that wasn't easy. And I have to say that I needed way more support, which I know the club does have today. At those ages, I had absolutely no energy coming to practice. I took it really hard. It's that confusing teenage age that you're not certain about your definition, and your parents planning up, even though it was the right thing to do, definitely was a little bit confusing. And I later quit football for like probably 1 month or so and moved to the next door club in Apollo Italia. I wanted to play in like an amateur level, or I wouldn't say amateur, but like half pro level. Thinking that what I was going to do. But the second I got to Apollo Italia, they have recognized my talent and upgraded, sorry, me into the under 14s team over there. After that, I spent like 4 years getting offers from I wouldn't say the biggest club in Israel, but let's say the second division biggest clubs in Israel: Hapoel Tel Aviv, Hapoel Ramat Sharon, some of those clubs. And every year I tried to move to a different club, but it was kind of difficult as I was the team captain and one of the leaders of both the under 13s and under 14s, and each year, under 14s and under 15s, and so on and so on, until I advanced into an under 17 level. And in that level, I already played with the under 21s
Well,
in
and
Hapoel Herzliya.
so let me ask at this
Yes.
point. So under 17. So thinking about you at a journey of under 17. Clearly, you were a good player. You're captain of your local team. In the academy, that professional club. Were you still attending school at this time?
Well, I have to say that I was attending school, but I had a lot of mornings that my mom didn't know about at the time. That I used to go to the pitch instead of, I don't know, sports class, literary class, I don't know, Hebrew class, whatever, whatever was that day. I would skip class and yes, definitely go to the football pitch, practicing. I would work really hard in the gym. Ever since I was 15. Took my career really professionally. I think when I was playing at an under 17 level, I used to train 9 or 10 times a week. Uh, yeah.
And yeah, and so in Israel, so just help me to understand a little bit. How professional is the game when you're at that under 17 and under 21 level?
Well, the favorite sport in Israel is football. So it is professional, but I would have to say that in comparison, let's say to the big Europe countries, it's probably not as professional as there is in Europe in those levels. Today, the football in Israel in those ages is already fully professional. But in my days, let's say 8 years back, you had to be professional on your own, and if you weren't gonna be professional on your own, nobody's gonna push you there. There wouldn't be extra facilities for you to train at, let's say.
Yeah. So how clear were you in what you wanted to be or what you wanted football to give you at that time? What was your dream?
Well, I have to say, when I was 13 and moving from Apol Ra'anana to from my first club to the second club, I wasn't expecting or thinking about professional football. But after one good season, my coach was even my educator, and I mean the coach that took me to the under 14s level. This coach, he told me, you have two roads to go. You're in a junction. You have two roads to go. You can go the right side, which is professional, or you can go the left side, which is amateur. It's okay if you go amateur. I still love you as a player. I still value you as a person. But if you decide to go professional, I'm gonna help you by offering you to the biggest clubs in Israel, and he did. He offered me to Apol Tel Aviv. I spent 2 weeks in one of the biggest clubs in Israel, one of the biggest academies in Israel. They actually wanted me in, but I'm afraid that the club that I was at, he was at a point that he could demand money for my player card, sorry, and the amount of money that they demanded was too big for Apol Tel Aviv to pay at those times. I think it was something like, if we use US dollars, it was something like 4,000 US dollars at that time, which was not acceptable for a youth player. Certainly not a one that is coming from a relatively small club.
Hi, I want to take this moment to thank Upskilled and their mini MBA for sponsoring this week's session. One of the great things about their mini MBA is it allows you to gain the skills and knowledge to help propel you that little bit further forward. It gets you understanding the vocabulary in the room and also gives you some of those skills to navigate the corporate career, the government career, or indeed stepping into not for profit. So, big thanks for Upskilled and the mini MBA for sponsoring this week. And hey, check it out. Link in the show notes. You can get $500 off. So, how did that change your career path, and for you as a player?
Well, for me, just limited my opportunities in Israel. I have to say that season after season, I always try to get the offer that I wanted for my player card,
Mhm.
but I'm afraid that it didn't work season after season. The club tried to keep me happy by letting me play in both teams, which was actually a mistake because when I was at an under 17 level, I used to play with the under 21s. As I told you before, I actually broke my ankle, and that was the first time out of 4 times in the next 2 years that I broke my ankle.
Right. Okay. Okay.
As a 16-year-old, I used to play, I don't know, 50 games,
Wow.
playing maybe Friday, both Friday and Saturday. In Israel, we have soccer on Saturday, not on Sunday, as
Hmm.
England and Australia may have.
Yeah.
And I used to play both Friday and Saturday, which was really rough. They would actually change the under 17s game. So me and another player that one of my friends, one of my teammates, could play both on the under 17s and under 21s. In
Yeah.
my opinion, now from a mature reflection, I can tell that I've probably should have played only for the under 21s, which I was also a starting player over there.
Hmm. Yeah. Right. And so that
But no
these
regrets,
injuries. Well, I was going to say, from your perspective now, you had that view of wanting to be a professional football player. You. It sounds like you made that happen yourself. I mean, did you have to work at the same time? Did you have to have another job so you could live? What was life like for you then?
Well, I mainly trained myself. I know that it's definitely better take like a private coach or maybe a fitness trainer.
Mhm.
But I didn't have I couldn't afford that. My parents, they afford for me football. They afford for me all the equipment. I grew up. I'm sorry. I've grown from childhood to maturity. I had everything. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm the last one to complain, but
Yes.
we weren't at a level that that my parents could afford the extra coaches. So I
Hmm.
just saw stuff online, saw stuff on YouTube, um, advised with my fitness coach from the club, and did the extra training myself. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I saw myself as a pro, even though it wasn't the case for all the kids in the club.
Yes. Yeah. So if I understand, you were full time into football, even though you weren't necessarily being paid a full time salary.
Well, I wasn't paid. I never got paid up until I was 17. Uh, when I got injured, the club did financed my whole recovery,
Hmm.
and the second time, third time, first time, all of them because it was
Yeah.
in my contract, which
Yeah.
I signed when I was 17. But it wasn't like a professional top contract. The club didn't pay for everything else. I used to get small amounts from football, usually took it to finance my day, my traveling to the training from or coming back from training. Maybe sometimes I had a girlfriend back then. Maybe sometimes take her for dinner or buying my brother a birthday present. But I didn't have the money didn't lasted long.
No, no, I guess not. But it's interesting you were able to, I guess, create a full time life, a professional career for yourself in Israel at that time. So, in terms of the club itself, where was the club in terms of leagues, divisions? How did that operate? Talk me through what the Israel football structure was like back then.
Okay, so I grew up in the first division. Hapoel Ra'anana was playing in the first division, but as when I moved to Hapoel Herzliya, I played second division. But as I told you, always with the year above, you can call it with the the extra level, with the more mature guys.
Yeah,
But it still was second division. I wanted to play first division, even if it was my age. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and I got to an under 21 level after recovering from all the injuries,
hmm
playing in the second division.
yeah,
But we've made Apollo Italia actually one of the best clubs in the second division, which definitely wasn't when I came in. When I
yeah,
was at the under 17 team playing both in the under 21s, we were third division, and in that season we made a qualification into the second division.
yeah.
The year after, which was my last year in football, when I left, and soon I guess we will discuss this, but when I left, we actually were second in the table as a new team in the league.
Right. Okay. So just there, and that's an interesting point for us to consider. So your plan, your focus had been really to try and make the club, perhaps promoted, move into that first tier. For you to move with them as a professional footballer, a self-created professional footballer. That was the plan, but that changed. That changed 2018. You were leaving. Talk to me through that transition and how did that make you feel?
I'm actually really impressed that you remember the year. But yeah, I've started the 2018-2019 season training mostly with the first team of the club, which was at third division level in Israel, which is still professional, but it's not at the high levels as I aspire to be at. And I started my year there, training with the first team, playing with the under 21s mainly, sometimes included in the squad of the first team. Not even one cup, not one official cup. I didn't make it, but in order to answer your question, I have to say that my main focus was football, but I still struggled with my process in the army. I've started processing myself in the army, or the army started processing me ever since I was 16 and a half, I think. And right now we're talking about 18 and let's say a little over 18. And from that point, the army has set me to be in a combat unit. So I had to decide if I'm gonna fight with the army, which is a little hard, but it's definitely possible. And I have to say, my mom works in the Israel security office, and it's classified. We won't talk about it,
Okay.
but she could probably help me in the army. But
Yeah.
I will soon tell the rest. But I can, you probably can know where is this going.
Yeah. Well, please, listen, continue. Tell me about that. But actually, before you do, how hard was that decision for you to leave football and move into the army?
Well, is that okay if I'll speak not on the decision, but like a little pre to the
Sure
decision?
thing. Yeah,
On
go
the
for it.
time. Okay, so I've started the 2018-2019 season as the vice captain of the under 21s, one of the squad players in the first team. But it was really I it was really rough keeps sorry being professional in football and at the same time processing about the army. I have to say my main conflict was due to the reason that my dad, he was in the, I think, the hardest war Israel has ever had, and he was a commander in that war. So he pushed me to become actually a footballer. He told me, don't go to be a combat soldier in the Israeli army. No, because not because he didn't believe in it, but he told me like, I fought so you can play football. And I have to say, my older brother had a big influence there. Also, I'm really connected to him personally, and he was in an elite unit, also in the army as a combat soldier. So I was sitting for 3 months and thinking, if I will go to football, this and this maybe happen. If I will not go to football, if I will pick the other road, the road not taken for me at that moment, what will it be like? What will I lose if I go to football? What will I miss if I go to the combat life? That actually was in my head for about 4 months. And the day I made the decision, it was actually I think the 10 week of the season, 10th week, the 10th game, and we were really like in a good position in the league. I had a contract which was due to upgrade my money and upgrade my status at the club. And the day I made the decision was after the first match we lost at the season on that season. I was captain in that game at the big stadium in Herzliya. And I gotta say, I went to my ex-girlfriend's house back then after the game, and I told her that I love this team so much. I love this club so much. I love football so much. I'm in love with football. I'm never going to be in love in football. But this combat thing is something that it's in our culture. It's in our tradition. In my home, it's a family matter. My grandfather also was in a war for Israel, and now this is my time to contribute mine. Even if my father allows me not to be in the combat soldier, and even if my brother advises me not to go to the combat soldier life, but that it's different times in Israel, that we can now choose not to become combat soldiers but becoming professional footballers, that it's a different time in Israel. Even while hearing all of that, and while hearing that the youth in Israel are not as excited as it used to be to go to combat service, I felt like I couldn't pass that by. I felt like I couldn't leave the combat and the life and the tradition that my family own without my mark in it. So the road for me was the combat life. I paid my dues, and when I say paid my dues, I paid money to get out of my contract
Wow.
with Apollo Artelia, money I saved from them. That was, I think, 12 or 15 days before I got enlisted. And on the 25th of November 2018, I got enlisted to a combat unit.
Wow. I mean, that's an amazing story. Just, thank you for walking me through that. I guess that thought process, the conversation you had with your ex girlfriend, just emotionally, that must have been a really difficult thing to come to terms with, to be able to make that decision.
Well, it was an emotionally triggered time, but I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly. Let's say I'm honestly an emotionally damaged time.
Okay.
For
Yes.
me, a lot of emotional baggage.
Hmm.
But I gotta say, the decision, I couldn't accept it until 2 weeks before my enlisting, because I was so in love with football. But the decision was already made when I started my process and told the army that I'm willing to go to combat service, that I want. They don't ask you if you're willing or not willing, but they ask you if you have motivation for it. And I said that I do have motivation because I wanted to leave that option open, or that's what I told myself at the time. But actually, I knew all the way that combat service and the combat life is just for me. But I kept being professional in football because I didn't know anything else. Ever since I was 14, I used to train. I told you, let's say 7 or 8 times, 15, 9 or 10 times. Kept up with that ever since I was until I got enlisted. But I knew it all the way. I knew that the combat life is for me all the way.
Yeah.
I knew that that's the tradition, the family tradition I have to own. And those times were very emotional. But I gotta say, my family heritage was the one that this was decisive at the end.
And so when you found yourself in the army, what did you miss about football?
Well, I have to say that the first few months in my army service, which was, I will have to explain a little bit background about the army. When you go inside a combat unit in the army, after 2 weeks, you have a week, which is like a survival week. It's a week of trials that determines if you go to the regular units of the army or to the special units of the place you get enlisted. My unit's name, not that it's going to be recognized, is Gatsar Nahal. It's in the troops, a special unit of the troops. And after that week, I passed the trial. I started 15 months of training, which divides into three parts. The first part is 4 months, the second part is 3 months, and then you have the extra 8 months, which is in a different base. You are starting the combat service life up, way up south in Israel, in a place I've never been at, and in the middle of nowhere, the middle of the desert. And I don't know how much you know about Israel, but Israel is far from a desert. Okay, Israel is really Western in
Mhm.
its nature, and
So,
you're starting out over there. And every night when I go to sleep, I can't go to sleep because I can only think about what, I'm sorry for the pronunciation, but what the hell is going in training, what's going with my team, what's going with my football, what player did they bring in to replace me. And actually the player that they did bring in to replace me is right now playing at one of the biggest clubs in Israel, Beitar Jerusalem.
okay, all right.
Maybe he moved already, but he used to play over there.
Yeah.
I'm not following his career right now.
So it sounds like when you were there, the bit you missed most was actually you wanted to know what was going on. You felt disconnected then from football. How did that change or evolve during your, I guess, 3 years in the army?
Well, at first it was like a habit you need to break. It was like quit smoking. I was an addict. I was an addict of football, and it was really hard that most of my team, and I'm talking now about a team that is going with me from the third week of army until the end of my army service, which is, you said 3 years, but it's 2 years and 8 months right now in Israel. And I served for 2 years and 8 months as well. And most of them didn't even care about football, about Israeli football. And football is a real big thing in Israel, even though we're not in that high level. We're not in the high levels. We only made it into one World Cup. Hopefully, the second one is coming with the next generation, which is looking really good in Israel, which I'm part of his training, I would say. We'll discuss that later, I can guess. But nobody even cared. They didn't understand. Nobody was a professional footballer.
Hmm.
I had probably only two friends who were interested in Israeli football.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. So how did you, like you say, it was breaking a habit. So football was a habit that you had to break, just like a negative one being smoking. How did you manage to break that habit? What did you do?
Well, it's a little hard to explain the whole image of being in the army, but at the minute you get into the army, no matter what time, they take your phone, they take everything from you. So I had no possibility of getting maybe an update about Israeli football. Only sometimes from the commanders who does have a phone. They don't use it around me, but they does have a phone. They use it whenever they want or whenever they can. But actually, I would say the army broke my habits because after 2 months, I didn't even know that I'm going to follow something. Like it was the two most confusing month in my life. They take everything that you're familiar with, and right now suddenly you're in the middle of the deserts, sprinting and shooting and crawling. Whenever they say, however they say, from really early in the morning, I would say 6 a.m. most of the days. I didn't have a phone, but I did have a watch with me. You only have a watch from, let's say, 6 in the morning until 11 at night, and go on. It goes on and goes on, and sometimes, actually, a lot of the time, surviving weeks, which is like no phones, no nothing, all the equipment of the army, the vest and the helmet and everything you need with the bullets in your vest, uh, with you, slipping away. So week after week, I kind of got used to the fact that football was over for me, and I would never leave this route that I've started to go at, this combat soldier route.
Yeah.
I
So
had to accept it.
yeah, you had to accept it. And you mentioned there them they stripped you of everything that was familiar in your life, so football and the routine that you had created. So what, if anything, from your dedication to football supported you as you moved into the army?
Well, I have to say that in terms of discipline, it was really hard coming in from football, because in football, you've been a footballer yourself. You can tell me uh, the discipline, I would say, is not in the highest level. Okay, it's like you can move while the coach is speaking. I couldn't move while the commander was speaking, for instance. Okay, and it's not only that. Nobody asks you to clean the toilet in football. Nobody asks you to wash the floors. Nobody asks you to, whenever you did a mistake, go for like 10 sprints and then, I don't know, 150 pull ups. And every time you made a mistake, it's not only you. If you made a mistake, it's your whole team was getting punished. So it was like 180 degrees different, totally different from the life I had before. What was helpful was the self-discipline, doing the training outside of the team training that was already there. It was the competitiveness of football, which served me in a lot of inner competitions that the party had, the party I served at, and that was actually it. But the discipline part actually came from a place which I was respected. I was the team captain, going inside the dressing room. Everybody looks at me because I didn't not all of my days I used to train with the under 21. Some of my days I used to train with the first team. But in the army, you go inside the room, you look at your commander, and he's like 20 squats, man. Why did you look at me? So the respect wasn't the same. Longer in my service it was, but at the training part of my service, definitely was very hard adjusting myself to the discipline. The
How did
competitiveness was, yeah, sorry.
well? So you mentioned there that difference in respect. So as a footballer, as the captain, you had the respect. You commanded the respect when you walked in the changing room. So now in the army, you didn't have any respect, or at least the commander had no respect for you. You weren't put up on that pedestal. You were the same as everybody else. How did you deal with that?
Well, I would say at that point of the army we're talking about, let's say the first year of the army, I wasn't even the same as everybody else. We were below most of people. We didn't have phones. We were the guys who were smoking. They were only allowed to smoke in very like a few minutes a day. If you're an addict of cigarettes, imagine how will that affect you during the day. A lot of urges, a lot of anger. It was hard for them, and it got hard for the team as well. Well, in the terms of respect, actually, I had this one commander, the superior officer of my party, which was a brilliant man, a man that I cherish up until this day now, cherish very much. I've learned a lot from him, a lot about values that nobody ever in the football world talked to me about values or about excellence or about commitment. Maybe commitment a few times when you know you had to. As a footballer, you probably know that sometimes you just have those games that you have to suffer to get the points. That's
Yes.
commitment, but it's not even close to the commitment you have to show uh, at certain activities in the army.
Hmm.
Later on, even more when I got into operational activity. But that's a different story to tell.
It is.
It's hard to adjust, but I have to say, as I told you about breaking habits, you have to form a new habit. And if you practice it every day for 14, 15, 18, 24 hours sometimes, then after a few months, you get used to it. And you understand that the respect part of the army or the respecting part of your service is not this part. You are going to have to earn it, and you even like the challenge a bit, I would say.
Okay. What is it you liked about the challenge?
Well, I gotta say that the challenges that I faced, me and my team, through my training, through the whole 15 months training, was unbelievably hard. It was like I told you, survival weeks. As long as you get on with your training, they only get harder and harder and harder. And you eat less and you sleep less and you do more and you train to attack more destinations, more, I don't know, more surprising attacks that is coming towards you in the week. So as it goes on, you want to say, I've done this. I've done this. I'm right here. And I did those 15 months and I suffered and I earned it. I earned this badge and I earned this, I don't know the name in English, but there is like this thing you put in on your head. You know what I mean?
Yes, you're well, I think for you it was a beret, but yes, in the hat.
Beret, yeah,
Yeah,
a beret.
yeah, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So a beret, you can put it on your shoulder or you can put it on your head. So you want to work really, really hard for that. You work really, really hard for your badge or for anything you're earning. Nobody in football ever worked even half, and no matter which level of football, even half to achieve those things. Uh, it's you get really proud every stage you go through, and you know you a little excited. Like for me, coming from football, for a competitive sports, a very competitive sports, may I say, I loved facing the challenges. I've loved climbing a mountain, looking down, and saying, "I did this. I've went through this week, and I've done something that will give me a sense that I can do anything now, that I can overcome any obstacle that will come in my way." After 15 months of training, me and my team, we climbed the biggest mountain that the training owns, one of the biggest mountains in Israel, up in the Israeli desert, up south, the south part of Israel. Uh, wow, I wish I could describe the feeling with words, the
You know,
sense.
yeah, I can see it
Of
on your
pride.
face. I can see it. I can actually see it on your face, and it is coming through, like you say, the pride, the passion, and there's a level of nostalgia or memory coming through there as well. You say it set you up. You went from a competitive professional football environment that wasn't anything like the environment that you stepped into with the army that pushed you to your limits. given where you got to then, how did you start to think of what was going to follow football in the army? How did you start to frame that next chapter for yourself?
The next chapter, you mean like after my service, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I've told you now was actually only half of my service was my training, but
Okay.
after that I've become a commander later in my service. Even served as in a in an officer position with no. I wasn't an officer officially, but I had the position of an officer, and served in a complex operation that Israel had at 2021. Sorry, 2020. Yes, 2020. And after that operation, I actually got released from the army, and I felt that through my army service, I've gained skills and values and leadership skills that will definitely help me wherever I go. I felt I'm a fighter. You know what I mean? I'm officially a fighter, but my character, which is way more important, is a fighter character. So wherever you can, throw me wherever, you can not pay me. You can do anything to me right now. But I actually faced a way bigger challenge not so long ago, and even if it was long ago, I faced that challenge. So I have a sense that I can do anything right now, that I can face everything, and I gotta say the most probably efficient skill or sense I've got from the army is this sense that you're capable of facing any obstacle that will come in your way.
Hmm. And that sense, you didn't have it. It sounds well, actually, in terms of football, you set yourself up that character, that strength, that fight, in order to, you know, captain the under 21s at such a young age and find yourself training with the first team. So you had that fight that was in you. It sounds like the army did something different to you. It ignited it to that next level.
The army made me believe that I can break any bear that I will see, that I can crush any challenge. The army made me believe that no matter what I do, if I will put in enough hard work, I will make it happen.
And again, I guess just hitting you up at that point, I know we were just talking briefly about, the progress you made in the army, as you know, as an or acting as an officer and moving on. Did you know at the end of your service, how much did you know what you were going to achieve next? How did you know, what did you design or create for yourself for what your next path was going to be?
Well, it's funny because we're interviewing right now about a podcast, inside a podcast. And right until, well, I wouldn't say right before my release, because before my release I spent 6 weeks inside the West Bank, fighting for Israel in the operational army that we had in those times. But in the period of time before that times, I used to listen to this one podcast of a mental coach, a famous mental coach in Israel. And I've started, and he was an ex-footballer who his career got cut in the middle because he got injured
Yeah.
badly, and I actually got really inspired of what he's doing, and I actually get really excited of what he's doing. And I wasn't even thinking about going back to professional football, but I was thinking, how can I affect professional football in Israel? How can I improve professional football in Israel? And not only professional football in Israel, how can I improve the lives of so many people in Israel, which is, I gotta say, fairly, in comparison to different Western countries, is kind of hard. No excuses though, yes, but it's kind of hard
Yeah.
with all the wars and then all the enemies around us. how can I affect them? How can I help them make the love better? And actually, how can I help them to gain the mental strength, the mental power, the mental stability that I've gained in the last 3, 4, 5 years? And when I met this mental coach, I've listened to his podcast, it was so exciting and inspiring that had to say, I'm gonna affect people in that way. I'm gonna take the present, that present, yes, even though it came with suffering, but most of the presents in life are coming with suffering. The present that the army gave me, the present that my footballing career gave me, even though at the end it was a disappointment. How can I take those presents and maybe scap a little few other presents in the Israeli society and maybe in the world society even, which I aspire to be at, definitely.
Yeah, I mean that I like that. In fact, what I really love about that is, whilst you were being impacted by that speaker who had, a similar life to yourself in the sense he was a footballer or had passion for football, and that ended or was interrupted for you. Your football career was, well, interrupted, ended by the military service. But what resonated as you were relating to that story is how you could then take that and impact others and support other people coming through. So when you left, what did you do?
Well, after I left the army, first of all, I took a trip to Europe. Let's chill a little bit, you know. Let's take a little vacation. I've just been in a very intensive frame for a long time. So now it's my time for like a week or so to chill. And then I got an offer, a really interesting offer, to actually become a combat soldier instructor.
Hmm.
It's not for people who serve in the army, it's for youth that want to prepare for serving in the army and want to achieve their goal, which is to get inside the army's top units, elite units.
How did you get that offer?
Well, actually, this one guy, my older brother used to train for this one guy preparing for his service. And when I got released, he told me like, let's sit down and chat. After he told me let's sit down and chat, he didn't offer me anything yet. He told me, okay, the interview went well. Now I want to see you coach. So he sent me, I'm sorry, with one of his managers, to do a little part of well trained team in the central of Israel, not in Ra'anana, in a city called Shoham. I've done a part of the training, never done it before, as the instructor, of course.
Mhm.
And after finishing this training, the manager asked me to start a new team in a city which is really low motivated to combat service in Israel. And at the beginning, he offered me this different city, and then I could tell that opening a new group of this kind of youth, which is motivated or not even motivated, just going to be a combat service soldiers very soon. Uh, I saw the challenge of the low motivated city, and I gotta say, I had to take that challenge. I had to
Right.
take those problematic kids and turn them into soldiers, into fighters. And I'm not talking like only, let's call it, by the job. I'm talking the character. Talking about the character. I'm talking about developing the character of the fighter, of the soldier
Hmm.
that I want them to have, not only for the service, but also for the rest of their lives.
So, I mean, that's interesting. You talk about that passion, that wanting to go and make an impact, using your network, or at least through your brother and meeting someone and finding that opportunity. How How did it feel? What made you think you were going to be good at that job?
Well, I gotta say, I had a really good time being a commander in the army. I was most of the times the leader of my football team, and I always felt like I have the leadership inside me. But I don't wanna talk as much about that as being a leader naturally. As much as I want to talk about, I knew that I'm gonna work hard. I knew that I'm gonna struggle, and I didn't only knew that the obstacles are going to come. I already was waiting for them. Okay, that was like, you can kind of call it the third career I have, kind of, with football and then the army.
Yes.
And I had a little experience, a little more experience than most of the people at my age at the time, with careers and with obstacles and with facing a struggle. And I already, like, we talked about habits before. I have the habit of going inside a struggle. I love a struggle. I need a good struggle. If I'm going through a year and then I had a really big struggle and it's something is missing, something is weird, something is not at its place. So I waited for the challenges, and my commanding and my leadership, let's call it perspective, was always being what you want them to become. Like, become an example for them. I went with everything I believe. I never even compromised, not even for a second. And I'm proud to say that we had, I had two teams, not on one, two combat, uh, two elite unit candidates team inside that city, that low motivated city,
Mhm.
which was one medium sized and the other one was large. I had a really good year back then.
Yeah, that's great. You know, I, I wonder. You said you wait for the struggle to come to you, every year or every opportunity, and I wonder if you do you wait or do you go looking for it? You what
Well,
do you think?
Well, I would say that let's start with that year we were talking about. So the year I used to work for Excellent, the name of the company, um, I actually didn't wait for a struggle. I went and attacked it because I had to get guys in. I had to get guys in to try to do a training that isn't free, and only to try what you're going to process if you will pay and schedule and attend this. I wouldn't call it a course, this group. Okay. um, so the struggle was getting out and find guys, getting out and find girls. Now we have also girls in Israel who is combat soldiers in not in every position that the guys can take, of course, but they certainly have important positions to go through. So I had one team for women and one team for men,
How did
and
you?
finding the women. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm actually curious because you'd had experience as a commander, that leadership, that was something that you knew you could do. You had that struggle inside of you that you were prepared to go and compete. But here you're talking about recruiting. You're talking about selling an idea to a group of individuals who aren't even thinking that, who aren't thinking about army, aren't thinking about that high achievement. How did you know that you could recruit?
Well, first of all, I have to say not all of them was low motivated. Some of them were were coming to me as an high, definitely high motivated guys to go into combat service. But this particular city, I had to face the challenge that if you go to their school and you're talking with them, which was possible, and I did it, and you're talking to them about combat service, they will laugh in your face.
Mhm.
They actually laughed in my face. Okay, it was, I wouldn't say embarrassing because I'm not the type of person that gets embarrassed that easily, but it
But
was not not
Yeah.
cheering
Well,
for me.
how did you know you were going to be successful, or didn't you know you were going to be successful?
Didn't have to know, never even occurred to me. I have a different definition to success. Or if you're talking about the definition that is acceptable in the world to success, then I didn't know and I didn't even thought about it. After I did my mental course, I always kept, I'm reading up until this day 30 minutes each morning to learn more, to have more tools to help the society with, to help the people. My cause is definitely helping people becoming the best version of themselves. And for me, success is doing my maximum at all times. And the outer success, the acceptable definition for success, you can say in the company, it came later. But it's first, the first thing you have to do is have not compromise even a bit in your values, in your with your principles. And I've done that, for me, that was successful. Stepping out from my comfort zone and helping those kids, those youth, those teenagers, sorry, stepping out from their comfort zones, week in, week out, that was successful for me. The kids, they come after that. Recruiting, it was hard, but I told myself, you're going to do the best that you can do. You're going to take your three principles of life, you take your three values of life, and you're going to match them every single day. And if the results come, they will. If they will not come, so be it. You've done what you need to do.
It's an amazing confidence that you took into that role, into that new part of your
Thank you
career.
very much.
Yeah, I think that's quite amazing, and part of it was done by redefining or defining success for yourself, and living by that, and rather than taking it from someone else. Now, I'm conscious of time, and I'm conscious of your day as well, and I'm interested then in how you started to move back towards the athletes and how you started to make that impact.
Well, some of the guys that were inside my the team I trained back then, the group of elite unit candidates, were had friends which were footballers, and I was a mental coach. So they had a bad season or they had a bad period or something, and I've started training like two or three kids who were playing football in this low motivated city, which happens to be the most motivated city for footballers in Israel, defined by me, of course. But it's very familiar in Israel that this city producing footballers. I've
Yeah.
started training them one on one sessions for one time, for two times, three times. They actually loved it, and then I started doing lectures both under the company I've worked at and both on my own. Opened this small big business for lecturers and one-on-one sessions, mental sessions, of course. I've done this one lecture in a medium-sized club, which is called Apol Kfar Saba. And after I was done with the lecture, I went inside the coaching room, and the professional manager, he offered me to become the mental coach of the under 16s, under 17s at that time. Sorry. After that, I've saved actually enough money to finally go to the common trip that everybody, all ex-soldiers take in Israel. I went to South America for 7 months.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, like a different drift, totally different drift. But I felt like if I wouldn't do that now, and I have a lot of goals to set up in life, I will always have something to miss out on. It will always be problematic to go. So I'm going now. So later I will not have to think about why didn't I go. And
Hmm.
actually, this trip, it was amazing. Met the love of my life. Uh, Not met her over there, but we got back together over there. You can say.
Hmm.
No need to get into that right now. And when I got back, actually, but Chen, if you're watching, I love you, baby. Anyway, when I got back, I reached out to the coach, to the manager and the coach that offered me the job. Back then, he told me that he was going to coach the under 16s this season at the first division league in Israel, and that the team will have to work really hard, not only to stay in the league, but to achieve its goals, which is high demands.
Yes. Yeah.
And if I want to join this journey, and I did.
I mean that's good. I like the way that that flowed. You know, you took time out. You got to, I guess, you know, I want to delve a little bit into that, but then coming back in and finding then this, I guess you've now stepped into this career in that, you know, athlete, that mental skills coach. I'm curious though, you know, you football to army to combat trainer, then you took that 7 months off. What did you hope to achieve from that 7 months of travel and experience in South America?
Well, actually, I wanted, first of all, for the first time in my life, to feel free. Ever since I was 9, you can say that I kind of had two jobs. In the army, it's one job, but it's like you can match it up to 3 or 4 jobs. I don't know. So, and when I got released, I was also working in an extra job, not only in the to finance myself, not only in the group of combat elite
Training.
unit
Yeah.
candidates.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
You went looking for freedom.
so yeah, I was looking for freedom. I was looking for independent, to becoming independent, and I was looking to having a once in a lifetime experience with the best friends I own in this world, with and to explore a different culture. I've only been, in Israel and a few times in Europe, England a few times to watch Liverpool, my favorite club. But but being in South America, feeling the heart of football over there, and feeling like the sporting, the different sport view that South
Yeah.
America has, this passionate fighting spirit of the fans and of the players, and this, having fun from football. They play for fun in the league, inside the league. They don't play like as the England players play. They play for fun. They have fun on the pitch. And I actually followed football and both fuchi volley. Are you familiar with the sport?
No.
No, it's like volleyball, but only 2 on 2, and you can only touch with your legs and you with your
Oh,
shoulders or
yes.
chest. You've
Yeah.
probably seen it sometime.
Yeah.
Fuchi
Yeah.
volley.
Yes. Yes. Indeed.
Yeah. So all the 7 months I was there, I played fuchi volley, which I gained a lot of peace of mind,
Hmm.
not only for the vacation, but peace of mind, during any execution.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess what I'm hearing from you is that break to go and find some freedom in South America. What you also found was a love and a passion for football, and you got to see that and absorb that from the culture around you. But it sounds like through just changing the way that you were playing, you found that love for yourself as well, and you got that freedom. You got that emotional pull from playing, foot volley.
Yes, and also the confidence that I can arrange myself even with no language, because South America nobody speaks English,
Mhm.
definitely not Hebrew.
Yeah.
Uh,
So with that, what came back? So you found that freedom, you found the love of your life, you found that enjoyment for sport again, and I guess that gets us to where you are today, in back inside the game, but bringing your, I guess, your mental toughness to that next generation.
yeah, I gotta say I've never lost my love for sports, but it gave me a different perspective about sports, and it's always good to know as much as you can, to have a different perspective. There is this one sentence in the Israeli Torah, Jewish Torah, sorry, that says you can learn from anyone. Okay, it's different in Hebrew. It's actually phrased way more high, high speaking, high
Spiritually.
level speaking.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I went there to learn from anyone, and I found that the learning part was amazing. And I would like to, like, if you have something to teach me about football, I would love to hear it. If somebody who plays football only for 2 years have something to tell me about football, I would love to hear it. I can learn from him as well, not only from you who has 20 years of experience in football, which is a lot, I have to say.
Yes. um, so, given your experiences, given that, and I think we've talked about your experience to where you are today. What's next for you?
Well, we've started the season a month ago with a pod for Sabo. We were at preseason for 2 months, and 1 month at right now for inside the league. I would say that we have a lot of work to do for the season to come on, both football and both mentally about the team. We're talking about a team who last year was a losing team and had the spirit of losers. I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth in the beginning of the season, and are now acquiring the winner skills. The what actually I mean they right now are acquiring what it is to become a winner. What's a winner? What's the winner elements? Let's
Yeah,
call it.
the winning
And
mentality.
then teach them. Yeah, of course, I teach them one by one.
What are you teaching them? What are those elements of a winning mentality that you teach?
Excellence, self-discipline, um, mental strength, of course, mental like the power to face challenging, the power to love challenging challenges. Sorry, and of course, hard work.
Mhm.
I would say. But I have an explanation, a deep explanation for each one of them. Each month I take the team and I work through a different matter.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I forgot one before. Your environment for them is the team. The
Okay.
environment you have with you is definitely a part of becoming a winner. You have to put yourself in an environment of excellence, of self-discipline, of all those stuff, so the people around you will affect you in the right direction.
Right. S-
Uh,
Well, so tell me those again. Tell me, based on your experience, based on that lived experience and lessons you've had in life, what are those key traits that determine this winning mentality?
okay, let me do the phrase the most accurate way I can in English. Okay, so it's mental toughness all the way. Mental toughness. It's the ability to love the challenge you're facing. It's self-discipline. It's excellence. Okay, and I don't mean being an excellent person, like finishing first. I mean, aspire to be better at all times, to become better than yesterday, to become better than last week, to become always better. It's not. It's like it's a skill. It's a value. It's not about your place in the table. It's not about the results. It's about you wanting to improve your performance. That's excellence. And as I told you, environment, the team, the people who can affect you, going in the right way, which is the way of the four elements I've mentioned before of excellence, of self-discipline.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing those. I mean,
Of course,
I'd probably love to delve in a little bit more in each of them. Maybe that's another time for us to perhaps do that. But just understanding
of course.
how you get those five elements across, and maybe how they've shaped you. That would be quite interesting as well. I think to understand.
Well, I've read more than 100 books about self-development and about the psychology of executions. Okay, and those books gave me so much knowledge, but this knowledge you have to do something with it. It's not if you have knowledge in your head or in your brain and you're not using it, then it's nothing. It's not a knowledge. It's not so you have the knowledge, so what?
Yeah.
So in my combat in the team of the pre-army guys, let's call them the youth team, I've started doing something with this knowledge. I've started studying. Sorry, teaching them the mental skills they will have to face, they will have to acquire in order to face the challenges. And when I've done that, I've got a lot of experience. I have my experience as a football player to share, and of course the mental side of football. And from that knowledge with the practice that I had, I could compare together the elements of a winner.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Idan, listen,
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing your journey and your perspective with me today, and indeed all of the listeners. I think this has been a really interesting episode on how you got to your five sort of traits for that winning mindset. So thanks very much for sharing with me today.
Thank you, Ryan. I had to say that you were very nice during the interview. And actually, as a person, you're very nice. If you're ever in Israel, Tel Aviv, I will take you to the beach definitely and teach you some fuchi volley.
This sounds good. I have to
Yeah.
admit, I was still to this day, I'm a defender, so my technical skills are probably not as high as they could be. But I
Well,
look forward to it.
well, I'm a right back.
Ah,
Mainly a right back. I used to play different positions,
yeah.
but mainly a right back.
Oh, we might be okay then. That sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, we might be the same level.
Yeah. No, thanks again for being on the show. Super helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you very much.